Let's talk about one of the most intriguing situations brewing in Buffalo, the return of Maxwell Hairston. Now, fans have been eagerly waiting to see what this kid can bring to the field. There's no doubt that the Bills' defense has had its ups and downs this season, and having Hairston back in the mix could change a lot. But here's the thing. Bringing him back isn't just about slapping a helmet on and tossing him into the deep end. It's going to take a smart, measured approach. The coaching staff knows that. They're not just waiting on physical clearance. They're also making sure this guy is mentally sharp and ready to play meaningful snaps in real games. Hairston missed a massive chunk of time. Training camp, preseason, and now several weeks into the regular season. That's not just missing practices. That's missing the rhythm of the team, the timing of the defense, and all those little nuances you pick up by being on the field every day. You can't replicate game speed in the film room. So, while he might be close to being activated, it's very likely that the Bills will ease him in. That could mean a platoon situation, at least to start, where he splits snaps with Tre'Davious White. Situational football could dictate who's on the field at what moment. The goal, no doubt, is to ramp Hairston up to the point where he becomes a full-time starter. Why? Because his ceiling is just that high. He has the potential to be a lockdown corner who can go toe-to-toe with elite receivers. And in a league where passing attacks are more lethal than ever, you need guys like that. But again, rushing him back could cost the defense if he's not truly ready. So the Bills are threading a needle here. Get him the reps he needs to grow without putting the defense in jeopardy. Now, let's not overlook Tre'Davious White in all this. Has he been perfect? No, but he hasn't been bad either. Through 2 games, he's only been targeted 7 times and allowed 5 catches for just 27 yards. That's solid. The issue is more situational than statistical. You see those completions come on key third downs, and suddenly it feels like a bigger problem than it really is. But when you're covering someone like Jalen Waddle with little to no help from the pass rush, it's hard to expect shutdown results. So while Hairston might eventually replace him in the lineup, it's not because White has been a liability. It's about unlocking the highest ceiling possible for this defense. Switching gears, let's dive into the offense and this whole idea of Josh Allen needing to take more deep shots, maybe even in a coverage, just to open things up. That logic doesn't hold up. You never throw in a coverage just to make a point. That's reckless football, and that's not how you win games in the National Football League. Josh Allen himself addressed this when he went on McAfee's show. He said teams are sitting back in soft zones, daring the Bills to be patient and take the short stuff. So that's what they're doing. It's smart football. The big plays aren't gone. They're just not always there. Enforcing it isn't going to magically bring them back. People seem to forget how efficient Josh has been throwing deep over the past several months. Since that Week 17 game against the Jets last year, the vertical game has been clicking. But defenses are picking their poison with Allen. They're saying, if we're going to get beat, it's not going to be by the 50-yard bomb. So they're dying by 1,000 cuts instead. The Bills are cool with that. They'll run the ball. They'll hit those short and intermediate routes. And when the shot is there, you know Josh is taking it. That's not going away. But you can't call for home run swings every time just because fans want fireworks. Let's get into Curtis Samuel because this one's confusing some people. You give the guy a 3-year, $24 million deal and 3 weeks into the season. He's a healthy scratch? Yeah, that's not ideal. That's not what anyone envisioned when he signed. But to the coaching staff's credit, they're not letting the contract dictate the depth chart. They're playing the guys who've earned it. Elijah Moore, Tyrell Shavers, those guys are making more of an impact, and they're doing it on cheaper deals. So it's refreshing to see the Bills put performance over paychecks. That said, you'd hope that Samuel eventually contributes. Injuries happen. Seasons are long. And having that kind of talent waiting in the wings could be a lifesaver down the line. But if we're being honest, right now, it looks like a miscalculation. He was supposed to be a versatile piece, someone who could give you 5 touches a game and add a new wrinkle to the offense. Instead, he's not even getting dressed. Now you can spin that and say it's great depth, and maybe it is, but clearly, this isn't how they drew it up. Now let's talk Joey Bosa. His snap count has been one of the more interesting storylines. The guy has always been a high-usage player. Back in his prime with the Chargers, he was seeing 70 to 80% of the snaps. But that came with a cost. The injuries started piling up, and the past couple of years, he's been more of a 50% guy. That's probably where the Bills want to keep him. He's already played over 100 snaps in 3 games, averaging about 38 a game. That puts him on pace for more than 600 on the season. That's a bit high. Ideally, you want him in that 500 snap range, around 30 per game, especially with the style of defense the Bills run. The difference between his role in Buffalo and his role in Los Angeles is pretty significant. In LA, he was often standing up, playing that outside linebacker role in a 3-4 defense. In Buffalo, he's got his hand in the dirt in a more traditional 4-3 setup. That suits his frame and skill set better, honestly. But it's also more physically demanding in some ways. And if you want him fresh for the playoffs, you've got to manage that load. Michael Hoy coming back will help. Right now, the depth behind Bosa isn't quite where you want it. Javon Solomon has struggled. He only played 9 snaps against Miami, and they weren't good ones. Landon Jackson might get a look soon, and you hope he can bring something to the table. But long-term, this rotation needs to stabilize. If Bosa is your postseason weapon, then you don't want to burn him out in September. Now about James Cook, there's no question the guy is balling out. But we got to start thinking long-term. Right now, he's on pace for over 350 touches. That's a massive workload, especially for a back his size. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not Saquon Barkley. He's not built like those guys who can take that kind of punishment week in and week out. Now, to be fair, Cook does a good job of avoiding big hits. He's slippery. He's smart. He doesn't take unnecessary punishment. But even so, the numbers are starting to raise some red flags. Last year, he had 239 touches. That was already a big jump from his college numbers. This year, he's trending way higher, and the concern is whether he can sustain this and still be effective come December and January. You want a lead back playing his best ball in the postseason, not running on fumes. So it's fair to ask whether the Bills are overusing him a bit early in the year. Part of the problem is that Ray Davis hasn't been able to take some of the load off him. He dropped weight in the offseason, about 10 to 15 pounds, and hoped to become a more agile, Cook-like back. But that's just not who he is. He was effective last year as a bruiser, a between-the-tackles guy who could punish defenders. Now, he doesn't look the same. It's a small sample size, but the results so far have been underwhelming. And it's not like he's been getting high-leverage carries, either. Most of his touches came in garbage time against the Jets. That's part of the reason Cook is being used so much. The Bills simply haven't seen enough from Davis to trust him in critical moments. And again, that probably ties back to the weight loss and a shift in play style that hasn't paid off. You have to hope he figures it out soon, because without a viable second option, Cook's usage isn't going down anytime soon. And while it's great to see him producing now, the team has to keep an eye on the long-term wear and tear. Let's keep it going because there's still a lot to unpack, especially on the defensive side of the ball. One of the biggest talking points right now is the Bills' third down defense. And honestly, it's not where it needs to be. Yes, they've faced elite talent. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are no joke, but that doesn't excuse the issues. The truth is, the pass rush didn't show up when it mattered, and the coverage didn't do enough to make up for it. And that combination is deadly when you're trying to get off the field. You look at the Miami game, and what stands out is that the defense actually did a decent job overall. They didn't allow a ton of yards. They didn't give up massive explosive plays, but they just couldn't close. Third downs were killers. 10 conversions on 15 attempts? That's way too high. And that's where this defense needs to be better. Because if you're getting teams into third down consistently, that's a sign you're doing something right on early downs. But if you can't finish those series, it's all wasted. Now, a big part of that is tied to missing key pieces. No Maxwell Haarston. No Michael Hoy. Ed Oliver missed time. You've got rookies getting major snaps on the defensive line. Guys who are still figuring out the speed of the game. And on top of that, players like Greg Rousseau are trying to gut it out while dealing with injuries. Rousseau has been playing through a bone bruise in his knee since the Ravens game, and that's definitely affecting him. He hasn't looked as explosive or disruptive, and that hurts this unit. Then there's the schematic side of things. The Bills are playing more man coverage this year. They're blitzing more. They're experimenting with 3 linebacker sets at a rate we haven't really seen in past seasons. That's a lot of change in a short amount of time. It's going to take reps and time for everything to come together. This is not a plug-and-play situation. These things require chemistry, communication, and trust, especially when you're doing more aggressive and complex things on defense. And to be fair, the coaching staff seems to be aware of that. They're not panicking. They know this isn't a finished product. The goal is not to be perfect in week 3 or 4. The goal is to be firing on all cylinders when it matters, in the second half of the season and, more importantly, in January. So yes, it's okay to be concerned, but it's also okay to be patient, knowing that reinforcements are coming and this defense still has time to grow. Zooming in on the pass rush again, the lack of production is alarming, but there's a reason for it. When you're down key linemen and playing rookies like Sanders, Walker, and Solomon, you can't expect top-tier results right away. And while these young players have flashed in spots, they're still adjusting. Add in the fact that your best interior rusher, Ed Oliver, has missed time, and it's easy to see why things haven't clicked yet. Now let's talk stunts. Those twists and movement games the defensive line uses to confuse offensive lines. The Bills have actually increased their stunt rate this year. On passing downs, it's up to 26% compared to just 20% over the past 2 years. That's a noticeable jump, and it's something they'll keep building on, especially as they get Oliver and Hoy back. Those guys are ideal for this kind of approach because of their athleticism and quickness. But if you're trying to run these concepts with rookies who haven't quite mastered the timing and angles, it's not going to be effective. So right now, what you're seeing is a mixture of schematic adjustments, injury setbacks, and a young, unpolished rotation being asked to carry more than they probably should. It's a tough spot. But again, there's reason for optimism. Once this group gets healthy and more experienced, the talent is there to take a big step forward. Now switching to the offensive line, one player drawing attention is O'Cyrus Torrence. Has he taken that next step? Is he becoming a dominant guard? Not quite yet, but there's plenty to like about what he's putting on tape. In the run game, he's been very consistent. Great hand placement, good leverage, and the ability to move defenders off their spot. In pass protection, he's been solid. Not elite, but definitely good enough to trust in key moments. What you're hoping for is a continued upward trend where he becomes one of those guys you can lock in and forget about for the next 5 or 6 years. Then there's the quarterback situation. Not the starting job. Josh Allen is firmly entrenched as the guy, but the conversation around him and how he compares to franchise legends like Bruce Smith. And here's the honest truth. You can absolutely make the argument that Josh Allen is already the greatest Buffalo Bill of all time. The numbers back it up. The impact backs it up. The way he completely transformed this franchise from the moment he arrived. It's special. Nobody has done what he's done, not just in Buffalo, but across the league. He's the most prolific offensive weapon in the NFL. Period. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. In what has quickly become the talk of the sports world, a whirlwind of controversy and excitement is sweeping across both the NFL and MLB. The latest spark? Comments from a Kansas City Chiefs coach that have sent shivers through Philadelphia. Sources close to the team claim that after a recent press conference, the coach couldn't resist taking a jab at the Eagles, describing them as overrated and soft in front of a crowded media room. While no direct quotes have been confirmed, the comments have already ignited social media, with Eagles fans vowing to respond on the field. The rivalry between these two franchises is hardly new, but the timing of these remarks, coming right before a critical stretch in the season, has only added fuel to the fire. Some insiders speculate that this might be a strategic move by the Chiefs, a psychological play to shake the confidence of one of the league's top contenders. Others say it's pure ego. Either way, the buzz is real, and the sports world is watching. Meanwhile, over in the American League, another tremor is rocking the standings. Rumors have swirled for weeks, but now sources suggest that Julio Rodriguez, the star outfielder, has officially landed with the New York Yankees. While neither team has confirmed details, Whispers around the league indicate that Rodriguez's arrival could dramatically alter the balance of power. Analysts are already speculating how the Yankees will adjust their lineup to accommodate the prodigious talent, and whether this move might spark a chain reaction of trades across the AL. Fans are in a frenzy, imagining a new era of dominance at Yankee Stadium, while rivals scramble to figure out how to counteract the surge. Baseball insiders note that Rodriguez's presence is more than just a boost to the team. It's a statement, signaling the Yankees' intent to reclaim their crown in a league brimming with competition. Adding yet another layer to this sports maelstrom, the NFL is ablaze with talk of SHEDEUR Sanders. After a stunning display of skill and confidence against the Browns, Sanders has reportedly inked a 4-year deal with the Buffalo Bills. Sources suggest that the move was in the works for months, but Sanders' performance against Cleveland may have sealed the deal, proving that he's ready to be a franchise quarterback. Rumor has it that the Bills' front office views Sanders as the missing piece to finally push them over the edge, while fans are already creating chants and merchandise in anticipation. If the whispers hold true, Buffalo could be entering a new era of dominance, and the ripple effects on AFC standings are expected to be profound. From jabs in press rooms to blockbuster acquisitions and new faces shaking up the rosters, the sports world is anything but quiet. For fans, insiders, and casual observers alike, the next few weeks promise drama, speculation, and perhaps a few surprises that no one saw coming. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.